about.
Sorry guys, I just started recording it, but we will we'll review it later. So go ahead.
So a tablespoon of vinegar with your water, and then I also like to go ahead and add the egg into this, and you want to mix them up completely here so that it's completely homogenized. And I should have gotten a bigger bowl. But yeah. Once you have it all together, just put your liquid in and lightly fluff your flour mixture, your dough here. And you might not use all of your liquid mix here, just depending on, depending on how wet or dry you want your dough. You want enough liquid just to make it pliable.
So you're basically making pastry dough, pie crust, right?
Yes, yeah. Pie crust. Exactly. So you don't want to keep pressing on it, but you do. But you want it. You do want it to make a little ball. So after I do this, I usually wrap it up in some saran wrap and stick it in the fridge for a little bit to kind of, again, get that butter to tighten up. You don't know, again, just trying to make sure that it doesn't melt on you. All right. Maybe we could probably turn her off here.
Good to go? Okay.
Good to go, I think.
All right.
Let me grab some food. Joel, I don't know if you want to taste this.
Oh, I'll taste it with you. Yeah. Hold on.
So I like to give it a taste before we.
Yeah, isn't that a good common practice? Like if you're making lumpia
Yes.
or do anything like that, is to get a little sample to see what it tastes like? Here.
Definitely. Always taste your food. That way you can see if the level of salt is to your liking. That's what's super important.
Nokee, it tastes like my Lola made it. Which means it's like my grandmother. It's a wonderful thing.
Yes, that's the best compliment. Awesome. So we're gonna set her aside, cool it down before we wrap up the dough. So what we'll get into is we'll get the bucayu batter going.
Okay.
And then we'll finish up with the empanadas here as soon as it cools down.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, why don't you tell everyone about your where you've worked here in the Louisville community? What places have you worked in, and how did you get started?
I started, maybe 8 years ago.
8 years ago?
About 8 years ago. I was actually an apartment leaser, and just one day I was like, this is not my life. So I went to culinary school and loved it. I went to Sullivan University. They're great. I was able to have a lot of different opportunities with them. I got to meet John Besh, who was super cool. I got to go to Houston to help out with a country club over there. So there were so many opportunities that they had, and and then I got to meet all these great chefs, which is how I kind of landed at Proof on Main. I worked with, I ended up volunteering on a farm to table dinner and with Lavon Wallace and bugged him to give me a job. And that's how it started. That's how it started.
Great.
Okay, so we're gonna make our little shrimp fritter here. So, most important thing. So before we make this, you want to get your batter done first before adding, your shrimp and.
Well, I think the first thing you need to do before you do all that is called mise en place, right?
Yeah, mise en place.
So what does mise en place mean, Nokee?
Technically in French, it means mess in place.
Yes.
But mise en place is getting all of your ingredients together where, that way you're not scooping into your flour bag. You have it ready to go. Sometimes you even have it cut already for you. That way you're not frantic when you're trying to put things together like, oh, I forgot this. And make sure that you have all of your ingredients also and just ready to plug in. So
perfect.
Cool. So we're gonna make the batter. So we have a cup of cornstarch here, a half cup of flour, and a pinch of salt. And you want to get your dry. Always get your dry together first before adding your liquid. That's just a practice that I always do, just because it helps. I make sure that all over especially if I'm baking, if I have baking soda or baking powder, it's nice to have it all together with my flour, so it's not just lumping together and you have like lumps of baking soda. So okay, so we're gonna add one full egg here. I think it's a cup of water. And again, do it slowly because you might not need all of the water. It just depends on how thick you want your batter. So you can always put more in, you can never take out.
You could always put, you could always, yes, correct. You could always add, you can never take back.
Right. So it's good practice to always, just little at a time. You can't take no backseats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this batter's a little too thick for me. So I am going to add more water here. You want like a very loose pancake batter is what you're looking for.
So as you're preparing for this pop-up on Sunday, the day before Memorial Day, about how many of these do you plan on making?
Well, good question, Joel.
Right, good question.
Good question. I plan on making as much batter. The nice thing about this is you can make it ahead of time and then freeze it if you wanted to.
Oh, great.
I could make the batter and kind of just have it ready for my next. You can put your batter together. Just don't add the vegetables if you're gonna freeze it.
Okay.
So you can make this base. You can make this base ahead of time, and freeze it, but just don't add your vegetables or your shrimp or tofu, whatever you're gonna decide what protein you use. And I also I'm gonna add a tablespoon of fish sauce here. That's the secret. Nice umami flavor.
Yeah, I know that I always have to warn my friends before they come to my house if ever I make anything with fish sauce. So
it's potent.
It's potent, that's right.
That's definitely something that you do not want to break in your pantry.
Right.
Or if you're like my Lola, she carried it with her in her purse, just like they carry hot sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So I started cooking because, I missed the Philippines, but, and my grandparents, because that was one of the things that I did is I cooked with my grandma. She made a lot of sweets. Like she made the best ube halaya, which is the purple yam. It's chewy, sweet. That's so popular right now here in America too, right?
I know that when Trader Joe's sells it, it's seasonal. It gets sold out right away.
Yeah. So great flavor. But she made a whole bunch of those, and we would make a bunch of rice cakes that she would sell to our neighbors. It was just such a fun time. But she was such a great cook, and I wish that I had the foresight to ask her for the recipes because now, my grandma passed away in 2019, and I don't have any of her recipes. I don't know how to do any of these, so I have to kind of remember by taste, which has been really fun. Just kind of going through the recipes and remembering how it's been a fun journey. So now that with your batter, you have a nice batter now. Some loose pancake batter. You're gonna add your green onions. This is about a cup of carrots and about a cup and a half of bean sprouts. Let me switch my tool here for a second. And from here, you can really add whatever protein that you'd like to add. A lot of people like those little tiny shrimps with a shell on. That's a traditional Bucayu flavor. But I really like shell shrimp. And some people you can add tofu if you're vegetarian. Another sauce. Okay. And I do my shrimp a little different. I like to cut them in half. So these have been peeled and deveined. So I like to cut them in half because it helps kind of crisp up. It helps kind of crisp up the, I want that super crispy, like fritter. So if I have like this huge fat shrimp, I'm gonna have really, really crispy, fritters, but my shrimp might not be cooked all the way. So I like to kind of cut them in half. But that's my preference. You guys can put as big strips as you want on there.
So, are there any occasions when you make ukoi? Is there any special time of year, or is it just whenever? Just whenever.
I did so my family, we always make ukoi, but of course when people were coming over, it was a quick snack to put together, like super fast. You have everything. So and a lot of people don't even use. Some people don't use bean sprout or carrots. They put whatever vegetables they have, and that's the beauty of Filipino food. You can kind of substitute whatever you want to whatever you're fancy. So some things aren't always as authentic, and now it's a little bit easier to find ingredients. But when I was growing up, when I moved here and missing home and wanting to have a taste of the Philippines, it was, I had to find things that were around, and so we substitute what we could find. That was the closest thing.
My mother would always make ukoi whenever we'd have gatherings because it was always something that went well with beer.
Yep.
And in the Philippines, you have to drink the beer of beers, which is San Miguel.
meal.
It's like the Miller Lite of the Philippines.
Some people like Red Wolf.
Yeah, that's right. Now they do. Yes.
Now they have Red Wolf. And just mix the batter.
So if anyone is interested in utilizing their services, how can they contact you?
I have a Facebook page. It's Vanilla Bean Desserts. You just contact me there. My email and contact information is on there. So if you want any fun treats customized to whatever you want, you know, we make Filipino food too. Whatever you guys want.
So your specialty basically is it pastries or?
Yeah, pastries. So by trade, I'm a pastry chef, but you know, I like to dabble into some savory sometimes.
Get you that.
So we're gonna get our oil ready here. Have my fan on, or my heat on high. Died again. Okay, paranoid. This is about 2 cups of oil that I put on this pan. It's enough to fry, but not, you know, completely brown your fritter. They get a plate with some beef.
Excuse me. And yeah, so we are filming from our kitchen in Old Louisville. And I'd like to thank GE, a hire company, for donating the appliances for our kitchen. And Nokee is going to, she's asked if she can use our kitchen for her purposes, and we are happy to do that to support our Asian chefs.
Yeah, thank you. It's always the hardest thing to find a nice home. All right. Once your oil is at a good temperature, about medium heat, we can feel it.
Oh yeah, it's smoking.
Yeah. So she's not quite there.
Not quite there.
Of course, you can always test your oil just to see it's not quite, it's not ready yet.
So you put the batter in. How can you tell? Does it need to bubble up or?
Yeah, it needs to bubble up immediately. So this is quick fry. So you want super hot oil. Yeah. I'm gonna grab it.
We're moving. For some reason, this fryer is just not working for us. Let's do it. Okay.
I'll have it on high now. It's gonna get it going here. Your favorite meal to cook, Joel? Filipino food?
Oh, Filipino food? Well, I'm a pretty simple person. I like to do everyday cooking. So I like to make this Filipino dish called picadillo, which is beef and potatoes. But whenever I have company, I love, and I'd love to make some for everyone someday, is my Filipino pork barbecue.
Oh.
That's one of my favorite things to make.
It's when I went back to the Philippines, the first thing that I smelled was the smell of propane that they always, because there's always people cooking like street food, always barbecuing, and it smells like home to me. It just feels, like, oh, back.
It definitely does. And then if I'm on a Sunday when I know I have a lot of time, I love to make, I like a lot of what we call sabaw, which is in the Philippines, which means a lot of soupiness or sauce for my rice. So I'm a big nilaga fan. I love to make nilaga. That takes like 3 hours. Or some arroz caldo, which is basically like a congee.
Yeah.
It's a Filipino congee.
That's one of my favorites too. I love that.
When it's a winter day and it's really cold outside.
I call it, it's like our chicken noodle soup almost.
It's like our chicken noodle soup.
Comfort food.
That's right.
Whenever you're feeling down, it's like it's nice chicken and gingery. Oh, it's so good. Warm. It's like a hug.
It is a hug.
A nice Asian hug.
Definitely.
Okay, so I've got a scoop here, and depending on how big or small you want your fritter to be, this is a pretty large scoop. But the best way, you want to spread it out here, and you want to leave her alone so kind of gets a crust together, and then we'll flip it and cook the other side. So it's super quick, it's fast, you get nice crunchy snacks immediately.
So Nokee, people are saying they can't quite hear you. If you don't mind speaking toward there when you're speaking, but yes, we will put her contact information in the chat in a little bit. Thank you.
I like that you mentioned sabaw, Joel. In the Philippines, I think it's just cool. We use every part of the animal, and by that meaning, like a lot of times back in the day, they wouldn't just kill a cow to feed people. They want to get all the use that they can from the animal. So what they, usually it's they work this animal to death basically, and then by the time that it's time for this animal to go, right? It's older, it's worked, so the muscles are tough. But that's why we have a lot of sabaws, because we went through and did a lot of braising to kind of soften up that meat. I just think that's really cool, because like, what a great way. That animal had a nice hard working life, and then it still provided for the family.
Right.
It's a good way to kind of think about it.
Yeah, when I think of Filipino food, I think about family cooking, and you're correct. A lot of the cheaper cuts are cuts that require long amounts of cooking. So that's why I love, kind of like our stews, those meats require long time to boil to make it tender.
Okay, so had a nice press. I flipped her over, and you just want to get a nice color on the other side, and
So Nokee, I'm gonna try to see if I could get you committed right away. For future programming, someone asked if we could do an event which is called a Kamayan event.
Ooh,
Would you be willing to do that?
Definitely. Now that we're almost COVID free.
So tell people what Kamayan is.
So Kamayan is basically we have the whole table set out, and we have our food kind of just out on the table. There's banana leaves down, it's a placemat, and you Kamayan, you eat with your hands.
And what does kamay mean in Tagalog?
Kamay means hands.
Yes.
So, but basically there's a technique to it. You wanna, when you're picking up rice, you kind of want to make this slow movement, and that's how you pick up, and that's how you eat.
Right.
So it's not just, there's actually like a technique to it when you're doing Kamayan. There's actually Filipino restaurants all over the Philippines, and it's just Kamayan, so there's no utensils or anything. It's just your hands. It's a really fun experience. Again, brings people together at the table. Maybe you share conversations with people that you don't really, don't know, and kind of it's such a good time. Like food to me is so great because it brings so many people together that, and then you get to learn everybody's culture through their food.
So just to inform everyone, for AAPI, which is Asian American Pacific Islander Month, many people have asked me, which are the biggest populations in Louisville for the Asian community. So just to let you know, the number one Asian group that's here population-wise are Indians, as we call Asian Indians. The second largest population are the Vietnamese. Third population are the Filipinos. We are the third largest Asian population here. The fourth largest Asian population is Chinese, and fifth are the Koreans. And to all their dishes, all those subgroup Filipino dishes, I'm like, yes, I'll eat all of them.
Finish this off.
It smells so good in here. So Nokee, I don't want to speak about your private life, but I know you have a special man in your life. I see you posting about him all the time. So tell us a little bit about Mochi.
Oh, Mochi. He's my little golden, well, I say little. He's not little. He's actually 95 pounds of golden retriever.
95?
95. All right. Yeah.
So he's 95 pounds. He's the love of your life, it looks like. It makes me jealous when I see you speaking with him all the time.
Yeah, he is. He's a fun one. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to roll out the dough for the empanada.
Oh, so I'm sorry. We've been having some difficulty, so I'd like to pose some questions to you. So Jim Craig said, I probably missed this part, but the butter should be soft but not too melty. So how do you answer that?
You actually want your butter to be cold, like you want cold butter. The colder the butter, the better, because you don't want it, you're going to be moving it around, like when you're flaking the butter, that movement, of course, you're going to have friction in your hands and it's going to get hot. So you want your butter as cold as possible. That way it doesn't melt on you and you get those nice big flaky bits of butter on there. So that can turn off. We can probably turn that off. This button. Or pull them out of the pan, please. So I just, you just want a pinch of flour here. So just a little bit. I'm just rolling the dough out. You don't want it to be too thin, of course, because you're gonna be, you're gonna have filling in there. But just like nice.
I'm gonna mess with you, Nokee. So I'm gonna ask you a curveball question, and you're probably gonna hate me for it.
Okay.
How do you make Filipino food healthy?
we have a lot, vegetables.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, we have a lot of fresh fruits,
Yeah,
a lot of
I
fresh vegetables. I did that to throw her a curveball.
I know it's like, oh,
No, so yeah, there's a lot of fresh fruits. I think the majority of the mangoes that come to the United States come from the Philippines, and a lot of the pineapple comes from the Philippines
yeah.
as well.
Bananas, I think, is our major export in the Philippines. So that's why we have banana ketchup. We have so many of them. There's, here in America, we know of one banana, right?
Right.
But in the Philippines, there's like big, like fat, crazy ones, purple ones, small, teeny tiny guys. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of, I feel bad, like, I wish you guys could taste the fruit that we have in the Philippines. It's amazing. There's so much fruit that we have that, like, a lot of people have never even heard of.
Yeah, there's a joke. People say that America is the country with one banana but many religions, whereas the Philippines is the country of one religion and many bananas.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
But it's so true.
But that's very true.
So true. All right. I'm just gonna do 4 right now. We can already chat one.
So you were a busy gal, I know. I was trying to book you a while back. So tell everyone where you were right before here. You're definitely a woman of a lot of work.
Today?
Yes, yeah, like today.
Today. Today I was baking. I also work out of Churchill. Helping them do pastries over there, and then I'm also at Riot Cafe baking with Olivia, and then I always have events on the weekends now. I will be at the Flea Off Market next month. We're gonna be doing some Filipino snacks. Have a merienda with me.
And when's that going to be when you're at Flea Off Market?
It's gonna be June, I think 12th and 13th, or 13th or 14th. I'll have to make sure that I give you those dates.
And it's right off of that area right near Market Street?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. There's suppliers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we do have finished.
Here, so let's go see what the ukoy looks like. That looks wonderful.
Yeah. Nice,
So
crispy.
do you eat it as is, or see, there you go.
Sorry guys. So this is something that we make in the Philippines. Everybody has like a little jar of vinegar, and you put some Thai chilies in there, and garlic is usually the main things that everybody kind of puts in. But yeah, you kind of let it seep in there, and you get like a nice spicy vinegar to dip your crispy fried ukoy in.
So I know that my mom would always call that sasawan, right?
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
Yum.
Which means sauce.
That means sauce.
So a funny story about Thai chilies. As I mentioned, my grandma, she's the best, and but she did not like cats. So specifically my grandma, she would make fish sauce on the roof, because that's how you make fish sauce in the Philippines. Is you don't want it stinking up your house, so it would be on the roof. And I would wake up, and she would be fighting cats because they're trying to get into her fish sauce bin.
Mm-hmm.
So cats did not like her, but I did have a cat that passed away, and before we finished up digging, burying the cat, it ended up, she planted a pepper seed on there because she said that it will make it even spicier.
Yeah. Excuse me, let me grab a bowl here. All right, we have your filling right here, Nokee.
Yeah, so now that the filling's completely cold, we can fill her.
Okay, switch cameras here.
All right. All right. So your dough doesn't have to be perfect because we can trim it up, make it look real pretty. So I usually take my dough and portion it into just little balls and then roll them until they're flat and nice. You don't want it to be too thin or too thick. You just, I guess like 1/8 of an inch is what you want.
Okay, there's a question, Nokee, from Beverly. She wants to know, are the dough balls about a 1/4 cup prior to rolling?
No, it's I guess so. About a 1/4 cup.
Yeah, that's the hard part with a lot of Asian cooking and a lot of
Yeah.
Western cooking. We usually go by feel and look, where a lot of recipes give exact measurements.
So I do like to weigh out my dough. So to me, this would be about 40 grams if you want to get technical. So it's about 40 grams of dough that that you could just roll up and then just try to roll it out into as close to a circle as you can. So once you get your filling in there, gonna fold it over. You're gonna pinch. You're just gonna press. Like, see that dough is like super nice and like she's fluffy and soft and gentle. That's how you want the dough to be because you want it to be nice and flaky.
And about what diameter? Is the? Would you say that is?
About 4 inches.
4 inches. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. So if you just weigh out your dough 40, like I said, 40 grams, you'll get about this like when you roll it out. Then again, it's you feel,
Yeah.
There's so many ways to fill an empanada. You can, I have like a little square cutter that I like to use sometimes. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to overfill your empanada because you don't, you want to make sure that you get meat with every bite, but you don't want it to be seeping out. It's no bueno.
There's nothing worse than a overstuffed empanada when you're cooking it.
It's right. Yeah, because then it messes up your oil. Like it's just, it's not as good. This one's a little bit bigger.
So someone has a question here. Can you bake your empanadas too?
You can. I actually really love to bake empanadas. I think it helps the dough stay together. And I think in a way it makes it a little bit flakier. Frying it's nice because you get that nice crispy exterior, but when you bake it, it kind of gives the dough a little bit of time to kind of, the butter to melt. Like it just gives her, I think, as a better texture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna press.
You looking for a fork?
Yes.
I knew you were. That was my job when my mother made empanadas, was to be the fork guy. So.
Okay, and so just like any hand pie, you want to crimp with your fork, and you want to press and pull, because that helps seal it. And I do it this way. I don't add any I don't like to add any more liquid into the dough, so I don't add, a typical like egg wash when you're closing it, because you want to keep it, you don't want too much liquid in there.
So you don't put like what people do with lumpia, you don't put any egg yolk or egg wash in the end.
No,
okay.
just for the dough purposes, I want it to be nice and flaky, so I don't add any more liquid to that.
This looks like it'll go well with a brown Foreman Finlandia
Oh yeah.
and tonic. Yum.
And these can be made way ahead. These can be frozen, and you guys can freeze this, make it way ahead of time, pull them out when you need them.
Oh, so Jane Zimmy has a question. How about an air fryer?
People have done air fryers. To me, air fryer is technically just a convection oven, right? You're just getting a whole bunch of air in there. But yeah, you can definitely use an air fryer. I've had people like cook lumpia in an air fryer. I'm just trimming up the dough to make it a little bit prettier here. It would be easier with a pastry wheel, but I didn't bring one today.
So I know coming up, we have Olivia from Limbo Bar who will be preparing drinks for us, but I just learned that Olivia has children who are partial Filipino. So Olivia, do you or have you made any Filipino dishes while at home?
I haven't yet. They're also part Puerto Rican, so I think I've made more Puerto Rican stuff. I love plantains. I love the flavor profile, putting olives and capers and oregano and everything. But I would love to learn some tips from Nokee, make some fun Filipino food. I make a lot of empanadas actually, but that has almost every culture makes their own version of an empanada. Yeah. Which is cool. You can just change the filling flavor profiles.
Yeah.
So how beautiful are your children? They're definitely island kids.
Yeah, they're pretty little boys who are wild.
Pretty wild boys.
Bruno Mars is half Filipino.
And half Puerto Rican. That is Bruno Mars.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yes, the pride of the Philippines. Yes, he is.
Great man.
Correct.
Handsome.
Correct.
Handsome man. Oh, and his voice. Have you guys heard Silk Sonic?
I have not.
That's his new group with Anderson .Paak. And oh my God, you guys, I love cooking and dancing in the kitchen. Like I feel like music is so important. It helps keep me on track, but it puts me in a good mood. And when you're cooking in a good mood, your food always tastes better to me.
Correct.
I'm just waiting for the oil to heat up. And again, you can bake these. So the same recipe you can bake at 350 degrees oven, preheat it to 350, and then it's about 10 to 15 minutes. You want a nice golden color. Now what I'm doing what I'm not doing if I was baking right now is you would want to use an egg wash on if you're baking them. Not if you're frying. So you don't want that extra liquid on there.
Okay.
Egg wash on the top to get you like a nice color.
So that's your test. You're checking, waiting for the oil to heat up.
You want like medium heat. You don't want it to be too high. You don't want to, basically your goal is to just give a nice golden color. Because your filling's already cooked. And for these purposes, I didn't put them back in the refrigerator, which I normally do. because it gives it a little bit more stability for the dough, so make sure that it doesn't pop on you.
So Nokee, let me play a challenge with you. So we did mention Bruno Mars.
Yes.
What other famous Filipinos do you know that our audience might know as well? I can name some. I know Lea Salonga, who played the original Kim from Miss Saigon.
Yeah, she was also the voice of Jasmine.
She
Disney fans.
and Mulan. That's
Mulan,
right.
right.
That's right. And then also Apple to Apple from
Yeah, he's half
from
Filipino. Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, he's had a Filipino song out in one of their albums.
That's right. Filipino. Yes, that was a fun song.
That's a bop.
That's right.
Such a good song. Vanessa Hudgens, right?
Vanessa Hudgens is partial Filipino. That's right.
Who else? There's so many.
There's so many.
There's so many. We're just waiting for them to get golden in color. Well.
So Nokee, someone asked that you sell frozen lumpias. Will you be probably selling some frozen empanadas as well, or frozen ukoy?
I wouldn't sell the ukoy. I mean, I guess I could say sell the batter, but you guys would have to fill in, you know, your sprouts and your vegetables, whatever protein that you want, so you can do the batter. But yeah, definitely sell empanadas, also egg rolls.
So are you still selling them right now?
I am.
All right, and how would they get in touch with you? Someone asked me to put your contact information in the chat. So what would the contact information be?
It's just vanilla bean
VANILLEYBEAN
pastry
PASTRY
@gmail.com.
Got it. Thank you.
So we'll say they're burning on the other one side. We're gonna flip them now. I will say that both of the things that we did today is fried because, you know, we don't have a lot of ovens in the Philippines. Like a lot of the way that we cooked was, you know, over the stove. So a lot of things were fried or steamed. A lot of our baked goods are steamed. So, but like I said, you can bake this. I wouldn't bake the ukoy. It's just not gonna be as tasty. Just waiting for a nice golden color on the other side and be ready to eat some snacks.
So besides Lancetas and My Tindahan, where are other Asian stores or locations that you'd like to get your ingredients from?
The most that I go, the one that I go to the most is Troy's Asian Market, just because it's closer to me. And they've, you know, grown exponentially. Like they have more selection now.
And where are they located?
They're located on Linden Lane, right next to the Thorntons.
I like to go to a store called Viet Hoa,
Yes.
which is a beautiful Asian market, which is located off of Preston Highway.
And be just super careful. Again, your dough is, you know, it's very delicate. Color. And then as soon as you get some nice color, like I said, your filling's already cooked, so you don't, you don't have to go any further than just having a nice color. Yeah. Right.
All right, so let me go ahead and get our bartender and let's get our drinks going.
Okay.
Okay, we're waiting for Olivia Griffin. She's on her way, and yeah, looking forward to tasting a great Brown Forman drink.
Right.
Is that right, Olivia Griffin? Did I?
It is.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, hi everybody. So
This is Olivia. We've heard her off camera.
What a fun outfit.
Yes. So we've got ice, very crucial. So I'm gonna make, originally was gonna make will you hand me that bottle of alcohol? I was originally gonna make a gin and tonic. I love gin and tonics. They're a perfect summer cocktail. But we could not find the gin we wanted, which was Ford's Gin from Brown Forman. So we're gonna do a vodka tonic with Finlandia vodka. I actually did a whole campaign for Finlandia and made a bunch of hats for their Derby Oaks Lily campaign a couple of years ago. But
Well, Olivia, before you start, tell everyone exactly where you work and about your fun bar.
Yeah, so I own a bar called The Limbo. It's like a tropical tiki bar downtown on 4th and Chestnut, and we just opened Riot Cafe in the front part of the building. So it's a coffee shop and cafe with baked goods that Nokee makes, grab and go breakfast sandwiches, and we do art exhibits there, and soon we'll open for lunch service and be open throughout the evening. We have our package license, so we sell booze there also. So it's pretty exciting. We've got 2 spots. We have daytime and nighttime. The Limbo's very, very fun. Lots of tropical plants. It feels like you're on an island in the middle of nowhere, but you're right in the heart of downtown. So it's really cool. And we have these guest pop-up chefs once a month at Riot Cafe, which is really great for us. We close down our kitchen and they get to take it over and keep 100% of food sales. So it's really cool.
So packaged liquors, you could sell beer and stuff from
Yeah, we have
your
beer,
location.
wine, and spirits. We have the baked goods we make in-house, and then we also carry other products made by either women or LGBTQ or BIPOC producers that we sell. So bourbon balls and nuts and nut butters and hot sauces and salsas we just got in, and we're gonna be expanding that because there's not a lot of grocery stores downtown, which is really unfortunate. And so we are slowly expanding our inventory there so that we can be a little corner stop for people who need stuff at home who live downtown.
My question to you is, since the pandemic though, are you allowed to make cocktails that people can take home with them now too?
New legislation. It's really cool to see the world evolve positively throughout this whole tragedy. And we can now make cocktails that you can take home. So we bottle some of our cocktails in little plastic containers that are seal proof or tamper proof is what I mean. And you can buy our painkiller or our Mai Tai, which are 2 of our most popular cocktails, and take it home to enjoy. We also do like a rum club delivery service on Thursdays, which is today, where you can get a quart of cocktails and a rum sample and a recipe delivered to your house. You can make it again at home. And that's been a really fun thing that exists because of the pandemic that wouldn't have existed otherwise.
Well, awesome. Well, show us what you're gonna make. I want something to go with my empanadas and my ukoi.
Yeah, so we make all of our syrups in-house, and making syrups is not as intimidating as it maybe sounds. It's really just equal parts sugar and water, and then whatever your flavor profile is. One easy way to make syrups is just go buy your favorite flavors of tea and make the syrup and steep the tea bags in there for 20 minutes or more. And then take them out, and then you've got a green tea syrup, or you've got a chai tea syrup, or you've got an Earl Grey syrup. So this is our lavender vanilla syrup that we make. This goes in our in one of our coffee drinks, along with an Earl Grey tea and steamed milk. It's called a London Fog. This also goes in a cocktail on the Limbo menu called the Purple Urchin, which has lemon and actually ube extract, which is the purple sweet potato extract. So the drink is like this beautiful purple color. But this syrup is just lovely. So I thought for the pop-up this Sunday, we'll do this really delicious G&T, or in this case, vodka and tea, V&T. So when you're making cocktails, it may seem counterintuitive, but you always want to put your least expensive ingredients in first, just in case you mess up. That way, you know, if you mess up, you're tossing a syrup and a juice and not your liquor if your liquor is expensive. So we're going to start with our syrup. We're going to do an ounce of our lavender. I can smell it immediately. Our lavender vanilla syrup. And then we're going to do an ounce of lemon juice. And if you don't want to buy lemon juice, you have a fresh lemon, even better. It's about half a lemon will get you an ounce.
I could smell that lavender.
Can you smell it from here? It's great. It's gonna strongly taste like lavender. Now, if you're like a little wary of a lavender syrup, you could put less in there. You could just do like a quarter of an ounce of lavender syrup. And then we're gonna do an ounce and a half of this Finlandia vodka. And then you add your ice. That way your ice isn't diluting all the ingredients while you're building the cocktail, especially if it has more than 2 ingredients. Add ice.
And so this drink, but it will be gin, will be found for the pop-up that's coming up.
We're
Just wanna
doing
make sure.
this. We're doing another fun one we're doing is a carrot cake pina colada. Which is really fun. So we take this out. You want to shake it until your shaker gets frosty, and then you know it's cold enough. Then you can just split your shaker apart like this. Or if you have a Hawthorne strainer at home, that's what these are called. If you want to buy one, it's called a Hawthorne strainer. You can use that. Either method is good. Where's my tonic is back there? Maybe in my bag. It's a tiny little bottle. And you're gonna add your ice up and pour it. There it is. So then you add your ice after you put the drink in. Because if you add your ice before, sometimes you have too much liquid. So always put your liquid in first and then add your ice. And we're gonna chop this little guy off with.
Ooh, yay!
Woo! Fireworks. Hang on. There we go. I rode my bike here, so I think it got shook up a bit. Some tonic water. There we go. Let's move this out of the way. And then a little lemon slice that I'm going to slide into the glass. Like that.
I love your straw. Is that a paper straw?
I love paper straws.
So environmental.
Save the turtles. And they're pretty, and people complain that they get soggy, but just use a second one. Just throw it out and get another one.
Right.
And we compost everything at the Limbo. We really care about the environment. So we actually pay for our composting service, which is really cool. So everything in our drinks are compostable, from the bamboo picks to the straws to the little tiki umbrellas and all the fruit. So we just toss everything in the compost and it goes to U of L, I think they do all these big composting piles.
So environmentally friendly, that's great.
Very environmentally friendly.
So let's go ahead and
I'm gonna try this and make sure
let's try this. Is it yummy?
it's great.
Okay, great. So guys, Amber, Nokee, let's come here. Let's go ahead and try.
Yeah, all right, then I can shake up.
Let's try
another batch.
everything. Here, we have some forks here.
Let me make another little batch of these.
Perfect.
So I'll make a little double batch here. Because I brought enough stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is our little salsa in here.
Well, I'm gonna go. I can't wait. I'm sorry. I can't wait. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the shrimp.
How often do you do these cooking classes online?
Well, thank you, Brown Foreman, for sponsoring our cooking series. So we're gonna do a series of about 5 classes. This is our second of the 5 series. And actually, I think I discussed it with you. I think our final one will be a class all on cocktails. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
There's so much fun stuff you can do.
Mmm.
So we need one more glass?
Mmm. That is so good. Mm. So guys,
Perfect.
I just want to say thank you, ladies, so much for
Yeah.
showing us how to celebrate AAPI month correctly with some drinks and some fried food. So life is so good. So guys, let's make a quick toast.
Hang on, let me ice you or it's gonna be very strong. Put some tonic
I
in
can handle it.
Woo! No, put tonic in
Oh, I have put tonic in it?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Top it off.
Yeah, that's my top of it.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's all grab our drinks.
Get you some
Oh.
tonic. All right.
Raise our glass.
All right.
Cheers.
Happy AAPI Heritage Month. Thank you all.
Thank
And thank you for joining us. I can taste that lavender.
Ooh, that's so refreshing.
Have a great Memorial Day weekend and thank you. And we will tell you more about our future classes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye now.